Baldur's Gate 3's speedrun is home to dozens of unique glitches and exploits, from flinging boxes across the map to Goomba stomping major bosses. But one of them is surprisingly simple and has countless applications all over your own casual playthroughs: kidnapping. Kidnapping essentially allows the player to temporarily stow any entity in their inventory without gaining any weight or using any turn resources in the process, and the only criteria for being able to do so is that you must have enough strength to pick up the entity. Its uses are extremely diverse, from moving certain NPCs to places they really shouldn't be, to carrying your companions inside of each other like a clown car. There are all kinds of fun ways to apply the concept to your own shenanigans. Kidnapping isn't unique to Baldur's Gate 3 though, and it's actually easier to explain if I show you where the glitch originated from: The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. To put it simply, in some games, damage checks are tied to attack frame data. In Ocarina of Time, the crouch stab attack is flagged to open the damage check gate when the B button is pressed, where it checks for an enemy to attack every frame or so, and then closes that gate when the animation has been fully played out. Now, what happens if the attack animation is interrupted and the closed gate frame never plays? Well, the gate will stay open and will be checking for an enemy to attack every frame or so indefinitely. Game developers know about this though, and they do their best to find every instance of an attack animation being interrupted and write in exceptions to close the gate, but a few extreme edge cases inevitably slip through, like activating a text box during a crouch stab attack. In Baldur's Gate, this concept is abstracted a bit. We're still using the idea of interrupting an animation, but instead of interrupting it during a damage check gate, we're interrupting it during the time in which an entity is being confirmed to a new position. But first, before I explain the glitch, you need to understand how the game's animations work. Basically, Baldur's Gate is meant to run at a smooth 60 frames per second, as are minigames, but the animations are built through keyframes about every second frame, or in animation, what we call animating on twos. To keep important animations in sync with one another, they operate on what is called Tickrate, which is separate of your frame rate at about 30 ticks per second, or 1 tick per animation keyframe. Additionally, most actions that require turn resources also operate on this tick rate, since it's a surefire way to guarantee that the game behaves predictably and matches up across screens in multiplayer lobbies. Okay, now that you understand tick rate, back to kidnapping. In order to perform a kidnap, we will stand as close as possible to the entity we wish to kidnap, and then throw them with left click. 1 tick later, the action is confirmed and the entity's position is sent to the position of the ghost which the player is holding. We then right-click to cancel the throw, and the entity's position is sent back to the position of its model. When the second tick of the animation occurs, the model position is sent to the position of the ghost, but the actual position remains at the old model position. The player is also now completely free to move as they wish. Now, I'm sure that sounds confusing, but it's really as simple as a left and a right click. So if you're having trouble, just keep trying that at different timings. It should be about 2 frames apart. To drop the kidnapped entity, all you must do is cancel another ghost animation, which will cause both ticks to play out normally relative to the new player location. The simplest way to do this is to prepare a jump with the Z button and then cancel it with the escape button. Kidnapping has its quirks though, and you need to be careful, especially in honor mode, because you can very easily cause an NPC to permanently disappear if you don't know what you're doing. You'll quickly notice that when kidnapping your own companions, if you try to control them, your camera will be sent to their actual position. This isn't a problem on its own, but because the game doesn't actually know where they are, if you reload a quick save with a kidnapped entity, that entity will disappear forever. This can be used to break some quests pretty bad, but I'd steer clear from it if you want to keep the integrity of your game intact. You'll also notice that you can use kidnapping mid-combat, and because you never confirmed the throw, the action is completely free. This causes the enemy to lose their ability to fight back, so it'll just skip their turn while you can continue to beat them up by attacking their portrait icon at the top of the screen. Kidnapping in combat can also be super useful if you need to get an enemy closer to a chasm to push them off, which is probably the main use of this glitch. You can also use kidnapping in conjunction with the Shadowbox glitch to do a little thing I like to call fishing. Kidnap a companion and then kill them by targeting attacks on their portrait, then Shadowbox them like normal. If you don't know how to Shadowbox, join the Discord below or check out some of the tutorials linked in the description. After the companion is shadowboxed, you can drop the kidnap and it will yank them back to you, allowing for a unique way to trigger cutscenes safely from afar. Editor's note, I totally forgot to mention that you can use kidnapping to AI break. If you take an enemy to a position which they can no longer path back to their original patrol, they will stop pathing altogether even when able to go back to their patrol, which is super useful for setting things up like this all 3 goblin leaders in 1 magic missile kill. And as I stated in the intro, kidnaps can be stacked. As long as every companion can throw one another, you can create a giant clown car of companions all hidden inside of one player. You can't take kidnapped entities wherever you want though. Basically, the game uses GUIDs, or Global Unique Identifiers, for keeping track of where things are and what things should be loaded. Each area of the game that's separated through a load screen will have a set of GUIDs to remove or spawn, so naturally the only entities that can be kidnapped through load screens are ones that persist through the load screen. Think all your companions, certain NPCs like Withers, or even the Emperor from Astral Plane to Rivington. If they show up at any point in both areas for any reason, you can probably find a way to take them. There is, however, an exception. You would think that kidnapping things into the camp is possible, but there's actually a check that teleports any foreign entities out as soon as they enter, so you can't bring anything into the camp that wouldn't normally be in there. Also, some characters have multiple models that use different GUIDs, like Raphael in his human and devil form, and therefore those won't be maintained through load screens. This glitch probably has a ton of other fun quirks as well, but this is what I personally found from playing with it for the past few weeks. I hope some of you newer speedrunners found this useful, and if you want more glitches or strategies like rogue porting, shadowboxing, or bear Goomba explained, leave a like and a comment so I know this kind of content is appreciated. This has been delph, I'll see you next time.